and welcome back to Mads World. I'm your host Mads, and I hope you've been enjoying the show so far. If you do like the show, please remember to subscribe, rate and review the podcast. I've also created a Facebook group that you can all join, and I'm hoping to start a little community where we can all share opinions, advice and stories to be discussed on the pod. This is the season finale of Mads World for a few weeks. I'm going to begin work on season 4 very soon, and I'll be releasing episodes in series of 10 moving forward. I'm hoping to get some absolute killer guests on the show, so if you or anyone you know has an outrageous story to share, please get in touch with me via my Instagram or my website. For the season finale, I thought it fitting to do one of everyone's favourites, just really funny sex and dating stories with one of my favourite guests, Gemma Allan. If you haven't heard from Gem yet, go back and listen to episode 13 for more. She's a great friend of mine, living down the road in London, and we enjoy anything that involves getting the sillies together. Hello, Gem.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just really hot.
It's so hot in London. I feel like I keep complaining, but whenever it's cold, I'm like, I wish it was like this hot.
Literally. And I feel like 28, 29 feels so different in London than it does back in Melbourne. Like, it's just so humid. People don't realise how humid it is.
It's because the city traps the heat. I stand by this. People at home are like, oh, a heat wave in London, 26 degrees. It's different, okay?
It is. I can vouch for that. Yeah.
Let's jump into our speed date question round, because you have been on the podcast a couple of times already, but I always love to ask you these questions because you're just such a funny girl. So here is the first question. What is the best thing that's happened to you recently?
Can I do the worst?
Yes.
It's like literally so first world as well. But basically, all I had to look forward to today was my massage at 1:30. Guess what? Got cancelled. So there you go. I know. I was like bragging to everyone. I'm like, oh, you're just going for a Swedish massage. Cancelled.
That is so sad.
Exactly. I know.
Okay, the best thing that has happened to me recently would be probably getting a really good guest on the podcast for the last few weeks and seeing the podcast grow, because, you know, I love to see it.
Oh my gosh, you don't have to say that about me, but thank you. I know, right?
Okay, here's your next question. What was your first job?
So it was pretty much the same as every young Australian teen, just McDonald's, which in Australia it's different because they do so much training, where here they're like, get that off your resume now, that's embarrassing.
Is
but back
it?
home, back home, if there were two people going for a job, this is like what everyone says. If two people are going for a job, they'll always choose the one who has McDonald's training because it's so like there's just so much to it.
Well, that's so different to my first job, because I worked in an ice cream shop. The woman was like ripping off all her employees because they were all they'd all migrated over from China, and they didn't really know that there was, you know, like a minimum wage, so she was paying them like $3.50 an hour.
No.
That we had no training, like we just literally were thrust into it. I was so good at scooping ice cream, so good that I kept eating all the ice cream, and then one day I just showed up to work and it was gone. Like the shop was gone.
Oh my gosh. Not even a call.
No, I showed up and I rang my boss and I was like, Shelley, where's work? And she was like,
work?
It closed down. I was like, okay, thanks.
Where's work?
Where's work gone? Oh, so funny. All right, next question. What is your most recent Google search?
Okay, so my last Google search, and I will explain, but I said, are spiders grateful?
Grateful. Are spiders grateful?
Are spiders grateful? Because I saved one, right? And it wandered into my room, and I just wanted to know whether there was any correlation, whether it was thanking me, whether it was trying to scare me. I just didn't know. There was no answer. So if anyone out there, any friends of the podcast.
Wow. If there's anyone out there that knows if spiders are grateful, please hit us up, because I really want to know this. I want to know if any animal is grateful. Maybe that's part of being a human being and being the superior race. We get things like gratitude, but exactly. I feel like if you throw a dog's ball, it's grateful.
Yeah, but like we're talking about spiders. It's like two different kettle of fish, but you know, there you go.
If you could join any current or past music group, who would it be?
Basically a band called The Shags. Have you ever heard of them?
I have not.
Okay, because I didn't want to be like, oh, Queen, oh, David Bowie, like ABBA, even though they're all great. But I wanted to pick The Shags because it's just this crazy band that this dad threw together because his own mother had a premonition that he would have all girls who would be in an all-girl band and be like super famous. And it ended up coming true, but these girls had absolutely no musical talents. So when you're listening to it, it sounds so chaotic. I have no musical abilities, so I feel like it's just fitting. But you've got to listen to them. They are absolutely chaotic. Some of the songs that you listen to are actually stressful.
Like what?
Just like the drums are offbeat. They don't really know how to sing. There's no structure to the song. It's just them playing instruments. It's absolutely chaotic, and I love it.
I do love a bit of a chaotic vibe.
They're like so bad that they're good. It's quality, like almost compared to The Room.
Is it like 70s type music?
Yeah, it was like they were formed in the late 60s, I think.
I was going to say, I was going to say I'd join any band from the 60s or 70s just because I feel like it would be kind of a vibe. You'd end up being like a weird little cult family vibes,
Absolutely.
you know, all just getting with each other, hanging out, being besties. It seems like a dream to me.
He also like banned them from having friends, so I mean,
good.
There was that. But I mean, do I really have any friends? So
I don't need you guys. I've got my weird little band.
Stay away from me and my girl band sisters.
Never talk to me and my son again. Anyway, we're going on a tangent. My last question is, what is the best thing about being single?
I think it's just being your own person, not getting into arguments, you know, doing your own thing. And you also get to be excited about, you know, meeting new people, you know, and also I'm going to reverse that to you, Maddie, because I'd love to hear what you love about being single.
Oh, no.
Do it.
I love about being single, you have more time for your friends. You realise how important your friends are in your life and that they are the ones that will always be there with you. You know, whatever happens, they're always going to be there, even if you've neglected them, which I am very guilty of in the past. So, yeah, I think that's my favourite thing is rediscovering my friends.
Oh,
so sweet, aren't I? So up next is our story time round, and I want to tell a story this week that I heard from a friend, which is just totally insane because the theme of this week's season finale is just bad, funny, sexual and dating experiences, and this is exactly on theme. So I heard a story about a friend that went on a date with a guy. They'd been seeing each other for about, 5 dates previously, and then they went back to his house, cracked open a bottle of wine and started playing truth or dare. And like they were like doing odds or whatever, and if you lose, you have to kind of do truth or dare. And so it got to one point where the guy was like, I dare you to let me swirly your head in the toilet. And I don't know if you know what a swirly is, but basically it's like in American high school movies where the girl or anyone gets their head dunked in the toilet and then flushed. Like,
do you think it was part of his kink or something?
I don't know.
Taking him back to his bullying days of yore.
Maybe, yeah. Like maybe it was something he experienced as a kid in school and he really liked it. I don't know. So anyway, she was like, ha, 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 very funny, whatever. Anyway, they went to bed and started like getting ready for bed and stuff. And then suddenly he picks her up, flips her upside down like a mop and dips her head in the toilet and flushes it.
What?
And she's like screaming like, no. And he was like, you didn't do your dare, and went all serious and fully swirled her in the toilet.
I can't believe.
I know, I don't believe it either, but it's completely true. I know. Like, obviously she just kicked him out. But what my question is like, do you really want to swirly someone's head in the toilet who you're about to make out with and sleep with? Like
what's he getting out of this?
They're going to be like a toilet.
Also, the $1 million question is, did this person end up staying there and sleeping with him?
No, she kicked him out. It was at her house. So she got swirled on her own roof.
Not in her own territory. That's so awful.
I fucking know. It's so funny. I know.
Oh, my God.
That is a story of the swirly toilet boy. So up next, you had a story to share with us that you've been wanting to come on the pod and share for some time. So take it away, Gem.
No worries. Well, I was new to London very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And I was on Tinder and just wanting to meet people. And there was a guy who I connected with quite early on. He had the same like vibe and everything. And then randomly one day he messaged me and was like, hey, by the way, how tall are you? And it's not generally a question I get. So I'm immediately like, it's flagged in my mind, you know, kind of. And I'm like, oh, I'm 5'6". Why? And he's like, oh, because I'm 5'5". And generally, as a rule, I like to, you know, go for guys who are my height or taller. Like that's an ideal thing. That's just my my personal preference. Yeah. And then I thought, you know what, this guy is, you know, he seems great. We get on. Just put your stop being so shallow. Who cares? Let's just make it about the personality. What's an inch, you know? What's really an inch? Yeah. And so I get to the restaurant. I'm early. I also wear I wear flat shoes, you know, it's all for him. Yeah. He's already there and he goes, oh, are you wearing Vans? And I was like, bitch, this is for you. These are the only flats I brought to London.
What, so he told you off for wearing trainers to a date?
Yes. And I was wearing a nice handbag. So it's like, you know, you kind of like dress it up. I was not looking slobbish. I was wearing a dress, you know, a cute little cardi and then some like clean Vans. They weren't old and battered. They were brand new out the box. So what's your issue? I'm doing this for you. Just sort of smiled and was like, okay, there's a strike against you.
Red flag.
Exactly. Then he ends up paying for the whole dinner, which is a bit of a red flag in London because most guys will like, that, you know, it's not typical, especially the bill was over £100, which is quite a lot. It was like tapas. And so he pays for it all and I think, okay, this is nice. He then locks in wine with me at my house. And then the big moment is we stand up and walk out. And I swear to you, he was barely 4'11". Barely 4'11". I've heard guys exaggerating, maybe like, I don't know. I've seen guys, a lot of guys will say, oh, I'm 5'11". Hun, you're not. Otherwise you'd say you were 6 foot. You're 5'9". Like 1 or 2 inches, I'll let you have it. But when you're when you say you're 5'5", 1 inch shorter than me, and you're like a whole head shorter than me, or like more, genuinely, it was so bad. So bad.
And I just think this is nothing against short guys. It's more about the lie. It's the lie for me. And also there will be a girl out there for you who either likes shorter guys or is shorter than you. Like the lie does it for me because you're just setting yourself up. You're setting the other person up to be disappointed. And why would you want that?
No, exactly. So I just didn't see him again, but I just politely said, hey, it was a lovely evening, kind of left it at that.
I mean, fair enough. I think if someone's lying straight out, then that's a red flag in itself. Plus, you have that comment about the Vans, which I'm just not really about.
Exactly. Thank you.
Right. Well, we also have some submissions from everyone out there listening of their weirdest and funniest sex stories. And we're going to do the voice disguising thing that everyone loves on this podcast. The first one is,
slept with a guy at his house he shared with his mates. The next morning, he went to work and I snuck into his friend's room and slept with him straight after.
Oh, you cheeky bitch.
Any listener of the podcast would have to say, play on player.
Play on player. If you like this podcast, then we love weird things.
Play on player.
Here's the next one.
I was once excited to meet a guy from a dating app. He had one picture on his profile and he said he was 35. When he arrived, he was more like 50 and had the posture of Mr. Burns from The Simpsons.
And the hands too.
That's not fair. Oh my God. I feel like I too have the posture of Mr. Burns. So it's like, please reveal who submitted this. I just want to talk.
I just want to talk. That's again, it's just the lie is just setting you up for disappointment. Like why would you do that to yourself? Just find someone who does want a 50-year-old with the posture of Mr. Burns.
A year or two, maybe that's okay.
I don't know, even a year or two. Why
no, you can't lie about your age. You can't lie about your age.
Because then suddenly, like, they'll just die in their sleep at like 40. You're like, oh, it turns out he was a 90-year-old man.
What?
Wait, what?
I can't believe.
We were out on our first date, and after a few beers, he asked if he could hotspot my phone so he could pay his phone bill.
What?
Just get on the Wi-Fi at the pub.
Exactly. Also, get a decent phone plan. Like,
Oh
I
my
literally
God.
pay £15 and get, like, endless everything. So,
Same.
grow
Oh my
up.
God. Grow up. And also, who even needs to pay their phone bills? Doesn't it just come out automatically? Too much.
Exactly.
About halfway through the date, she told me unprompted that I reminded her of her dead husband. She was 24, and she hadn't previously mentioned at all that she'd been married, let alone that her husband was dead.
What? That is messed up. Like, that's what you go into a date wanting to hear, that you remind someone of their dead loved one?
Honestly. And the sad thing is she's probably thought that she's hit the jackpot there and been like, yes, he's exactly like my ex. I'm going to lock
or
this
it's a
one down.
sign. Maybe she was like, it's a sign from
Him reincarnated.
Also, can I just say, have you ever, like, encountered doppelgangers in London of people back home? Because I do it all the time. Like, sometimes I'll literally just stop in the street and see, like, someone who looks like someone I went to high school with.
This is my thing. I feel like I read somewhere that there's at least 7 doppelgangers of anyone in the world at any time. Where are these people? Like, are they in Sweden? Are they in China? Are they in New Zealand? Like, where are the 7 people that look exactly like me? And we should start working together to do some crimes.
Do some crimes.
Just, I don't know what kind of crimes, but I just imagine you can do more harm than good with 7 doubles of yourself, you know? I mean, personal gain. It's everything.
I'm just imagining the end scene of a movie where they're like, I'm Maddie. No, I'm Maddie. You can't arrest us all.
Oh, God. All right, here's the next one.
I once went on a date with a girl who immediately asked me to make a dancing TikTok with her.
No. Was it a 17-year-old girl in high school is my question.
No, that's just, I think I've said it once and I'll say it again, but people that do TikToks, especially in public, they are a breed of their own. Like, where do they get the confidence? Where do they, because I catch people all the time in very public places.
Do you know what? I used to get embarrassed taking photos of things when I lived in Australia. Like in the street, if I saw a funny thing, I would just be too embarrassed to take a picture of it. But now I walk down the street. I don't know whether it's because I live in a foreign country or we live in a new world where, like, selfies are everything. But I have no shame of just pulling out my phone and, like, talking into the camera, taking a little video. But I think TikToks are just a step too far. Making up a dance that, like, a 14-year-old has invented and gone viral, and you're a grown man in your 30s trying to do a TikTok. It's a no from me, hun.
I think, like, you get more confidence with age with things like that. Like, you care less about, like, what people will think.
Yeah, and you realise no one really gives a fuck what you do, and it's amazing.
No, you'll never see them again.
I ordered a cranberry and soda. My date asked if I was ordering it because I had cystitis.
So if anyone who doesn't know, cystitis is a UTI. Oh, God. I used to just love cranberry juice when I was growing up. Like, I think that was like the drink in my house. You know, like if your mum buys juice, you'd buy cranberry juice. I feel like cranberry juice is just like a nice drink. I think vodka cranberry has ruined cranberry juice for me as an adult, but yeah, I love that stuff.
Absolutely.
The guy I was sleeping with bent me over. I farted and he was sick on my back from the smell of the fart.
That is absolutely disgusting.
What?
But surely, like, that is absolutely... But he, like, was kind of asking for it.
I've definitely, like, heard of people doing that when they're really drunk, like go to the toilet and then throwing up because the smell of their own poo was so bad. When I say I've heard of it, it was me.
It's definitely you. Also, what's happened to that couple? Are they engaged? Are they married? Surely they must be.
But, like, I don't think I'd want to marry anyone that's fart made me be instantly sick.
Absolutely not. You're joking.
Oh, God. Such a good one.
Okay, next.
Right, here's the next one.
My mum made me go on a pity date with my cousin once because he was a loner and he wanted to hang out but wasn't brave enough to try and initiate himself.
What? Is this like literally some sweet home Alabama? Like,
Let me just read this part again. My mum made me go on a pity date.
Are they
like, Mum,
like,
no, that's
what?
incest.
What? I can't get over it. That is the worst. That is the worst you've ever heard in my life.
Oh, with her cousin as well.
Hang on a second. Was this wasn't Queen Elizabeth II, was it?
Wait, let me check.
Part of the royal
Yes,
family?
it was.
Oh my God, Lizzie. Oh my God.
We're not meant to reveal who says things on this podcast, but Lizzie, you naughty bitch. Oh, God, that's traumatizing as fuck. Right, here's the next one.
I had 2 booty calls turn up in Ubers at the exact same time.
That is so fucked up. Imagine pulling up, being that other girl, just being like, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, here for a booty call. What are you doing here? Wait a sec. Wait a sec.
They're both at the doorstep with some flowers. But also bold of her to, like, invite 2 guys, give them her address.
Like, yeah, I mean, how drunk would you have to be to do that and not realise that you just invited 2 different girls?
Exactly. They should have just used Uberpool.
They should have used Uberpool and just come together. I mean, save the environment. Do you know what? RIP Uberpool, because now with COVID, I don't think that will ever be a thing again.
I just miss making friends, really. I've met so many friends from that.
Yeah, I've met friends, but also one time I was on the way home from the club at 11 a.m. from this place in Elephant and Castle that was like a rave, and I was in the Uber alone. Then they pulled over because it was an Uber pool and let in like these 3 really, really upbeat church-going people that were like on the way to church, so like a husband and wife and child. And I was in the Uber just freaking out with my head out the window like a dog trying not to be sick. And this family was just in the car with me like singing a church song and just like it was like something out of a movie. It was so funny.
I wonder where they are.
Oh, I wonder where they are now. I hope they're happy. Right. Here is the last submission. And this one we could have a whole podcast about itself because it's so twisted. So
I slept with a Collingwood footballer after meeting him on a night out. I had just broken up with someone I was exclusively seeing and ended up crying and snotting all over him in the hotel room. I woke up the next morning and looked like Hagrid, and he gave me $50 for a cab home.
Better than nothing, which is a lot more than what other girls get, so count yourself lucky.
I like the word snotting because you can just envision the snot. Like it's so
just
vivid
a
in my head.
constant stream.
Just snotting.
The kind you wake up and your pillow's wet, that kind.
Oh, my God. And if you don't know, Collingwood is a football team, an AFL football team in Australia. So, and they're actually like quite a famous team. The Collingwood footballer that she revealed to me is quite a famous footy player. And yeah, just the thought of him like, you know, stroking her back, being like, it's going to be okay, hon, while she snots all over him. Yeah, just the idea of that is very funny.
I love the Hagrid as well, because what girl doesn't wake up looking like Hagrid after being crying, snotting,
crying. I feel like looking like Hagrid is such an accurate description because every single girl in the world has felt like Hagrid at some point in their life. And for me, it's most days.
Most days.
It's most days. It's right now. Oh, well, Gem, thank you so much for joining me for the season finale of Mad's World Season 3. And we're going to have to do some serious work on Season 4 and get it in a tip-top shape for everybody out there listening because we're going to be back very soon with some spicy new eps and I can't wait to show them to you all.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Gem. I'll see you soon.
Bye. Bye, Negrino.
I hope you enjoyed my chat with lovely Gem. Please let me know on my Instagram. It's at madsworld.mp3 or my website, madsworld.co, if you have any stories or thoughts of your own to share. And I will see you in a few weeks for Season 4. Love and elbow taps. Peace.